Hi, this is going to be a general talk to anyone who may wish to, just listen. You can close your eyes and listen to it all the way through, or just sit there and watch me. I'm currently getting over an illness, so I'll apologise if my voice is a little bit croaky or not as smooth as it should be. But a student asked me if I could help him understand a little bit more about himself, and I've written 4 books and I'm writing one at the moment, and the heading of this particular film is called A Bucket Full of Genes, and that's where I'd like to start and talk about it. I, like a lot of the world, suffer from depression, and I have done ever since I can remember, even from a young boy. I get very low periods, and then I've now learned that it's a little bit like just waiting for a bus that isn't on time. So in the end, you just have to wait. And like the depression, I've learned that it will go. It always has done. Yes, you go through very low times, and it would be nice if it goes quicker, but you can't seem to rush the process. But what I thought about was, why do I get depressed? Because it comes on without any warning, and I might be going along quite happily in life. Then all of a sudden this cloud comes over me, and I start thinking, oh dear, I don't feel so happy today. I don't feel so positive, and yet I've got no reason to feel negative about life or to get depressed. Nothing crucial has happened. So yes, sometimes there are things that trigger it, but in general I get depressed, and it must be creeping up on me without me noticing it. So this is a general thing that I personally believe every human being goes through around the globe. To find a positive person that's positive all the time and never gets depressed, I would think it's quite a minority. Now, the heading, A Bucket Full of Genes. If you've studied meditation, there's so many different ways of meditating, but really you're trying to just sit quietly and clear the mind. Clear the mind so that you have nothing in your mind to keep the chatter going of the voice in your head or the visual pictures, and you're trying to become just an empty vessel, or that's my take on it. So I urge you to study and find a meditation that works for you, and then what I'm about to tell you now, it almost contradicts meditation, but you need the tools of meditation to help yourself find the gene that is you. So I'll just put my own name in there. So if I don't know why I get depressed, and there's no reason for it, then I started studying my relatives, the people who have been in my life, my aunts and uncles, my parents. And I started realising that when somebody says how much, as a baby, oh dear, he looks like his grandfather, or he looks like his mother, or all these things. So we are an accumulation of our ancestors, and we're carrying all those genes in us. And therefore, perhaps it was one of them that is causing this depression. And and Tony's gene may not be a depressive at all. But the overriding one, like I said, I won't just name names, make some names up, but use my own. But let's say my Uncle George, who was very depressive and in the end took his own life because of depression and couldn't be satisfied with living any longer. Jumped in front of a train, actually. A rather horrible way to go. But, you know, am I carrying the gene of Uncle George? So I decided that I would calm myself down, get my breathing nice and constant, smooth. I would empty my mind, so I would sit in the chair, prepare for meditation, close my eyes, and just sit and wait for my breath to be really peaceful, so I couldn't hardly hear my breath or feel my breath passing through my nose or my mouth, depending on at what stage I'm at. So if I just show you that I go, slowly close the eyes, relax the shoulders, check the body for any tension. And I do this, and I'm opening my eyes again. I do this until I get to the place that I'm comfortable and knowing that I'm, we'll say, in the middle of a seesaw where I'm not in a meditative state, but I'm not in an awakened state in the room that I'm chosen to sit in. At that point, I think we all have the voice in our head that talks to us, and as I said earlier, pictures of things come to us, and it's all created in the mind. So I decided the voice in my head that isn't a voice at all, it's your own voice, isn't it? You know, it's the voice that you you have in there. It's not a secondary thing that you've obtained. And so I decided I'd have a conversation with the voice in my head. And I asked, why do I get depressed? And I have to ask it calmly because I'm on the middle of the seesaw, remember, and I don't want to, tip it one way or the other. I want to just gently keep it as still as I can, but knowing that it's going to move if I do anything dramatic, or if I ask a question that's going outside of the boundaries of where the mind has to go off searching for it, then I'm going to disturb the place I'm at. So I decided, this is some time ago, that I would analyse Tony, me, and think to myself, what don't I like about myself? Is there anything I like about myself? Well, my partner tells me that I'm a good person, a caring person. I think of others and don't speak harshly about anybody in particular. And so she gives me praise. But can I accept the praise? Perhaps I can, perhaps I can't. Normally I can't, because I don't feel that I'm the person that she is portraying. But that's from my perspective. From her perspective, I'm okay. And perhaps the same with you listening to this. Perhaps you're okay to others, but you're not okay to yourself. So if I was making like a shopping list of ticks, I'd think to myself, well, I don't wish to harm anybody. I'm happy living in my own space. And you start building this shopping list, of the good things. If something pops into your head and you question it and you think, I thought I was good, but a little bit of uncertainty is popping into my mind now about if I am that good. So perhaps look at that a little bit deeper in a moment. There's no set time limit to this. And if you want to switch to looking at the negatives that you put yourself under, you can think of, I'm going to just pick one, why do I get short-tempered if somebody annoys me and it comes with such a quick burst that they're quite surprised how I may have been building it up in their mind, and yet I just, like a flash, come out with something, a statement or something of anger. And then, still under the seesaw calmness and analysing mind, you can look at it and you can actually look at pictures of yourself doing this, being disruptive or not being the person you want to be, really. And you don't like that about yourself. You don't like these traits about yourself. So ask the voice in your head and say, where does this come from? Where does this evil, disliked, whatever word you wish to put to it, depressive, where does this come into Tony's body? So this then started me realising that Tony's gene is sort of floating about somewhere within me, but it gets lost because it's only one small gene. And yet I've got Uncle George, I've got Uncle Basil, I've got Auntie Edith, I've got Auntie Irene, I've got my mother, my father. I've got all these other genes that are dominating Tony's little gene. So I have Tony's body, but I may have the features of one of my ancestors, parents, or whether you like yourself when you look in the mirror or not, that's something that you have to deal with. But taking on the gene pool thought theory, you've got Tony's little gene floating about there, and you've got all these others, lots and lots of genes from all your ancestors, been slowly carried down and placed in you from birth. And so I decided to start saying, well, where do I get my depression? So the pictures in my mind started showing me different relatives, mainly uncles and aunties, perhaps my parents. And I narrowed it down to my Uncle George because he was the most depressive of the whole family. So I was able to find a home for the depression. And I decided that Tony's gene must become a larger gene in the gene pool. If I'm going to carry it around for the rest of my life, then I need to make Tony's gene stronger than Uncle George, Uncle Basil, Auntie Irene, my father, my mother. I must make Tony's gene bigger, more dominant, so I can call upon the person that I've been told is a kind person, caring person. Because it's not that I want to be that person, but I am that person. And if I am that person, then I need to make that person stronger, because I don't like the other genes that cause me disruption I don't like them because I know in my heart of hearts that's not me. So I'm hoping this is making sense to whoever's listening to this. But try to find the gene pool that you carry within yourself and try working out what you don't like about yourself, and search when you're in this middle meditative state. And that place you should be able to think very clearly and to find out who you really are. From that point on, every time something comes along that disturbs you and disrupts the good gene, the Tony gene, or whatever your name is, try to make that gene the one that starts coming to the forefront of your mind, and try to work on making that gene stronger. You do have, in my opinion, we all have a bucket full of genes. This bucket has so many genes because ancestries go back time over many generations, and we don't know the generations before our uncles and aunts. You may have known your grandfather, but it's not often that we can go back too many generations. Some people follow a family tree and they research, and the information they get is normally about the person, and you can do that if you so wish. I don't follow that theory. I'd rather follow and give it time that I have available in myself. So I hope this helps. So in brief, if there's things you don't like about yourself and you question if that is really you that is this disruptive person, or if you're a kind person and your gene is a disruptive one, I would hopefully not be encouraging you to become the disruptive person, because I think that who I'm speaking to will only be people that will want to find a better you, find your gene, make that gene stronger. Please always make comments if you wish to this film. Contact me if you know how to contact me, and let me hear your point of view, and if I can help you more, I will. I still struggle, I still get depressed, but I do know that I have tools on how to look and analyse it. If I want to be depressed and fester in that depression and make it last longer, then I know that Tony's doing it. Then I can criticise myself and say, why are you holding on to this depression? Is it because you want attention? Is it because you want somebody to say nice things? There could be all manner of points to your makeup. But by analysing yourself, I'm sure that the journey will become more peaceful. The depressions hopefully will become shorter. You will become a more glowing person, and at least you'll know how to find the Tony gene in yourself, rather than just be the smallest gene in the bucket. Thank you for your time.